So whipped cream, right? Stacking. So now the bottom tier and the top tier is there. Now, if you can see on the sides, the bit of texture, but that is a bit of stuff that you can't avoid. Now, what I've done, it's the same paper. It's the 8-inch cake, right? Bleacher. Reduce பண்ணிடுங்க. So you can see the texture right on the top. So it's the paper, the one that I had done for the 8-inch. So you will do the same measurements on the paper that you know. So what I did, and this is been freezing from the morning, say about 10 a.m. And I just took it out like 5-10 minutes before. You just place the paper with the marking on the cake. It is going to stick, okay? But then use the toothpick to mark the positions of the dowels and then just peel off the paper, and a bit of cream is going to stick and they can be fixed. But what is more important is the positions of the dowels. And now to one of the place, I have already inserted the dowel, this one, and then I have cut all of them to the same height. So let's just check each of them. Okay, I actually checked that before getting it here to just save on the time. So I'm just going to insert this one with the cake all in. I have 7. Straight in. And every time I keep telling, it's exactly the same technique of stacking between all the mediums, because I follow exactly the same technique. It's just that sometimes it makes people a little intrigued about the whipped cream. So I thought we'll just do that as well. The only factor here is you'll not be able to touch the sides, and that is something that we need to see how to do that without touching the sides. Now the height, that's about 10 plus 9, 19. And then we need to just reduce about 3, right? So it will be a 16 pencil. So 19 minus 3, 16, it's all the same. Now I'm going to use the dowel cutter. It should be the one with 16. Okay. I'm just going to insert the center dowel in and get this cake, go under. I'm just going to gently slide it to put it in my hand. So the thing that we have here is we can't be touching the sides, right? That is the only difference. And then I'm just feeling where the hole is to pass through the dowel. And it moves in. It will just flow by itself, given a little bit more time. Done right, yeah. So without touching much of the sides, just a bit of the finger is here, where then it wouldn't just move in. I had touched just a little damage here and there. But then obviously in a whipped cream cake, that little damage will be there and you don't have to be scared. Like, because most of the times people tell me that fondant cake, they are just able to touch the sides and then keep, but then on the whipped cream, you're not able to do. Now, these sides can be fixed by just spraying a bit of water and some spatula, which I will just do to show how we could just fix, because that is also something we need to just take care what happens and how do we fix that little bit of mess that we create. Water sprayer and the palette knife, the small one. A set of 5 palette knife, small one. And because it was frozen, right? Also the turntable. So I'm just putting this on the turntable. And this is just a water sprayer, and that's only water there. I'm just going to spray water because it would be dry by then, and just using a spatula on it is going to further damage. So I'm going to pick up the palette knife and just gently go over the texture. Not too much pressure. You don't want to kind of damage the sides. So when you see a rough surface that you want to fix, just spray some water and then just use the spatula. I'm just seeing the water also just dripping on the sides. Could have been lesser water just on the top. Now, we'll just move on to geode. And if you have any queries on the whipped cream stacking, you could ask now. Why someone says not able to view? Okay. Any queries on whipped cream stacking? Freeze the cake. That is only difference that you need to keep in mind. Ideally, should this be frozen overnight for easy stacking for minimum how many hours? See, that's what I said, morning 10 to up till now, yeah, 8 hours should be good, which means overnight. So if we're going to stack tomorrow, finish frosting tonight, and then leave it in the freezer, and then next morning, you will be good to go. And after this, because it comes out of freezer for so many hours, after the step, it is good that it goes into the fridge and not remain at room temperature. Obviously, whipping cream cake, once you finish, it has to go into the fridge. So once the step is done, it is good to just put it in the fridge. How long will it take to thaw from freezer? An hour or 2? Back in the fridge, it will just come down because the sponge that you are using will also be very light. Stenciling all this, no, I think stenciling is a little difficult, and I haven't tried on whipping cream, but then I've seen, heard some of my students come here to tell me that there are certain techniques that says stencil on whipped cream, but I haven't tried. I don't want to give it a go. How to handle whipped cream in hot weather? Hot weather obviously will melt, but we just can't be dealing with, you know, like ice is there and ice not to melt. It's something like that. But then yeah, obviously we know AC you have to work, and then make sure you're transporting in an AC vehicle, car. What else could we do? You can stabilize the whipping cream. Stabilizing whipping cream methods are using corn flour paste, making a slurry out of corn flour and cream, and then using that into the whipping cream. You can read through stabilized whipped cream using corn flour. That is one way where you can stabilize it. Otherwise, obviously, trying to say that I don't have AC, I will be working in a warm room, but I don't want my whipping cream to melt. Those are some things that, compromise. Either you work in AC and then, because that is how it starts, and you can be actually dealing with the real issues. It's like, I can't be working in the ideal condition for that particular medium, but I want the medium to favor me. Is something a little tricky to deal with. How to stabilize whipped cream is to use corn flour, like I said, and cream, and cook them together until it becomes like a slurry, a paste, and then cool that and then add it to the cream when it is whipping. You could Google for stabilized whipped cream using corn flour, and that recipe comes from the Cake Bible book. Can we use gum paste flour on whipped cream? Yes, you can use. You can just poke it, but then just make sure your flour is like not too heavy. How to balance the weight of a 3-tier whipped cream cake? I mean, the weight of each tier will be in what ratio? Geetu, did you not ask me this weight balancing thing when we were doing the fondant? And were you not there when I said weight does not matter, the size matters? And so your drawing comes in picture, and your number of dowels matters. And when the number of dowels are done as per my instructions, your weight does not have an issue. Oh, you missed that part. No problem. Because I had elaborately said that during that time. If there was another tier, then you will do exactly like how we've done for the fondant cake. There'll be another paper, another set of dowels, and then the center dowel will come here, and then the top tier will be placed on top of this. Fondant cake with ganache, how long it should be kept in room temperature? These are common questions. Can we deal with in the actual Q&A? If there's anything very specific to whipping cream stacking is when we will do this. How to know the perfect consistency of the whipping cream? See, whipping cream lesson where it is there for you on the Sharp Edges video that is released. What I ideally do, I kind of over whip it beyond the stiff peaks. And then, because over whipping it and then trying to make it soft works. You can take a bit of it and then use your spatula to mix it up quite well. And that you apply and then frost your cake works. Now, if you're whipping it to the right consistency means stiff peaks. So once you have the beater, you lift the beater blade, or you just put the bowl of the whipping cream upside down, and then the cream will just be solid. It will not flow down. Stiff peaks is the ideal consistency, but I go beyond that and make it over whipped. So I can take a part of it, even when I'm mixing it with anything, mixing any colors, I still have some room, leverage to get it back to the stiff peaks. So I kind of make it dry and then I make it soft and then I work. Dark colors using whipped cream. See, like if you want black or red, I prefer to airbrush it because too much color is not good. But if you want to add colors, then add enough color when you're starting to beat itself, and then keep adding when the whipped cream stiff peaks are going to arrive. At that time, just keep pouring in colors into the beater itself, so the entire bowl of whipped cream gets to the color you want. Should we chill whipped cream after whipping? Not necessary. You can whip it and then you can directly start frosting your cake. You don't have to chill your whipped cream. More questions? Whipped cream, anything whipped cream? Anything whipped cream stacking? Always keep whipped cream cake refrigerated. Goes from the refrigerator in an AC car and to the client, and then the client has to be informed to put the cake in the refrigerator and directly cut from the refrigerator and eat it. Good to go?